Legendary ESPN broadcaster and former coach who has entertained fans for 38 college football seasons will make his final headgear pick on College Game Day on Saturday, August 30th, week 1 of the 2025 college football season. They have yet to decide what that destination will be. We'll get to more of that here in a second. Corso will turn 90 in August. He has been with the premier pregame show since 1987. And where were you when, October 5th, 1996, Lee Corso put on Brutus the Buckeyes mascot head in Columbus. For the first time, he made his headgear pick, which then became the thing on a college football Saturday morning from then on. Lee Corso, about to turn 90, hopefully going to really enjoy retirement with his family and live in peace in Florida.
And you kind of hit on something there, that the first ever pick of the headgear was Ohio State. He put on Brutus the Buckeye, right? Week 1, Texas at Ohio State. That has to be it, right? You have to go full circle. There are a lot of good week 1 options, but that has to be where they go for College Game Day.
So the biggest games in week 1 are Texas at Ohio State. Mm-hmm. You've got LSU Clemson, and then Alabama Florida State. Now
Ohio State dominates it. That should be a top 3 match. That should be number 1 versus number 3 or something like that.
He did go to Florida State. So do you? So that's the only thing that makes it a question is do you go full circle, go back to the place where you started it all, which probably makes the most sense,
right?
Or do you go back to the place that started it all for him in college football, which is Florida State, where he played?
It's a good question. I don't know the answer.
With Burt Reynolds as his roommate, by the way.
Yeah. But I just say the co-eds at Florida State were in trouble back in the day between Corso and Reynolds. Goodness gracious. What a legend. You know, a guy that nobody has. The only thing bad people have said about Lee Corso is maybe it's about time for him to retire for the last year or so. But that's it. Everybody else tells you this guy is the nicest guy. The people who work with him, they love him like a father, like a son, like a brother. It's incredible. And you think about college football and how hard it is to add something that everybody universally loves, right?
It's impossible.
Almost impossible. But don't tell me that you didn't love seeing him do that. And certainly don't tell me that if he showed up on your campus, you didn't want to see him put your headgear on.
And that's the best part about this is before he retired, Ole Miss fans and State fans got to see him pick your team on your campus. And so you'll forever have that image of Corso with the Bulldog.
Yeah.
And Corso either getting his Alabama. He picked Alabama one time they went to Oxford, and Katy Perry took it off his head and threw it in the crowd.
Yeah.
While he's wearing seersucker, you know, the bow tie.
The bow tie had his little red Solo cup there.
The next time he did pick Ole Miss, so there's one with him wearing an Ole Miss helmet. But you got to have those moments on your campus before.
Yeah.
Because I'll still watch College Game Day. It will not be the same. It'll never be the same without him, even though, like you said, the last few years, they've been kind of phasing him out, in part because he couldn't really do it anymore.
He's lost his fastball, but it was still great to see him there. He was still sharp. You know, he still knew what he was talking about. I like this from the 228. He dropped the greatest F-bomb in the history of sports. That is an all-timer. It is so good. It makes me
awesome.
laugh. I watch it at least once a year. I watch that clip at least once a year. It's just so funny. Way he's so casual with the way he drops it, and Herbstreit and Fowler are just like, oh no. Oh,
Did
no.
they even apologize? Because
No. Why would you? No.
You don't need to.
It's great.
So many of them. Shooting the schooner cannons and
everything that he. That's the other thing about him is
that dog is ugly. Give me that head. He puts the Florida Gator head on.
The other thing to remember is this. And you would not know this, but College Game Day used to just be a studio show.
I do know that. I don't remember it.
It was
being
just
one,
a Saturday morning in the studio. And, they the first ever one was 1993 on the road when they went to number 1 Florida State at number 2 Notre Dame. And that was the, massive, massive game. That was the first ever college football on location. So if it's 3 years later before they come up with the idea of, hey, why don't you make your pick and put the head on? And College Game Day went from something that, it was just on in the morning. You watched it before the game started, and it was just kind of background noise. It became an event, and it became if your school got College Game Day, well, you must be one of the best programs in the country. You must be the game of the day. You must be what everybody wants to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it was a huge deal when that bus came to campus.
Especially in 2014 when State and Ole Miss finally both got them.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just like we'd been waiting. Like, we had never had a game. Neither school had had that game where it could have been. Maybe it could have happened in 2003 for Ole Miss LSU, and maybe it could have happened for State somewhere along the way, like 99 or 2000, something like that. But that was such an incredible moment of being out, and I'm sure for the Ole Miss fans, being out in the Grove and seeing them, for me being in the Junction, and like, they're there.
They're there.
There they are. And just something really, really special. And
and it's because of him. It wasn't. Yeah. It's they
could have got anybody else for the other three guys,
but
the
other
three guys
were here.
Exactly. The other three guys, they could have had literally anyone as the host. They could have gotten any other former player in Herb Street's role, in Desmond Howard's role. They could have gotten anybody else to do that. But Corso was the gas. Mm-hmm. He was what got the engine going. And I've many times thought, like, who would be the replacement for him? Because Saban, as much as I love Saban, and he was so great on TV last year, he's not the same guy. He's not going to put the headgear on. And I don't think anybody should ever put the headgear on.
Retire the headgear. If Pat McAfee puts a headgear on in week 2, I'm going to be mad.
I don't want that. I thought, 15 years ago, I thought Les Miles would be that guy. He would be the perfect guy. Can't do that. I thought Mullen could pull that off, to be honest with you. Mullen's got the right sense of humor for it, but now he's back in coaching. I don't know who they get, who's out there. Do you want to know who the real answer is? The problem is, they can't do it, but Coach O would be so good. I'm going to put that Gator head on now. Here we go. Yeah, I ain't never said go Gators before, but go Gators.
I think you retire it.
The headgear's gone. The headgear's done. Maybe one more time, maybe when he passes.
Yeah, like everybody on set does one.
Yeah. But no, I don't ever want to see a prediction with the headgear ever again.
He is still, and was especially during his prime on that show, everything great about college football. Mm-hmm. Everything great about college football. He's a bit wacky, right? That's what separates college football from the NFL. It's a bit wacky. Mm-hmm. The NFL is very corporate, very structured. Mm-hmm. The players are better. In college, it's unpredictable. It's crazy. You've got weird traditions, and this fan base is ringing cowbells for some reason. This fan, it's all none of it makes sense.
Right.
And that's what's great about it. But he was, good coach in his day. You have the ties with Navy, but the passion. He loved college football and everything about it. And it just oozed through your television. You could just feel that, like, you cared because he cared. And there are not many people out there that can make you care about something that you don't just by talking about it. And he was one of those guys. And my entire life, truly my entire life, I have loved college football since day one. It is what bonded me to my father. What was college? That was our thing.
Yeah.
What was college football? Still, I live unfortunately 500 miles away from my dad, and I hate that part about where I am. The only thing wrong with Mississippi is that my dad's not here.
Yeah. Right.
Every Saturday, we get on the phone and we talk about college football still. And that day always, and I mean always, began with College Game Day so we could see who Corso picked. Right. And every tailgate you've ever been to, when the clock turned 11:01, or when we grew up in the East Coast, when it turned 12:01, well, who did Corso pick? What did he do? It was just such a, not like part of college football. It had to happen. You had to know who Corso picked. You had to see College Game Day every single Saturday. And I am just very thankful that he existed in the role that he had, because I don't know if I have the same passion for college football, the same passion. Of course, I still would have loved it, but I don't know if it would be the same without him. Because every single Saturday